In this week's video, we're talking new paddle design, new user interface, and going 7 days with no discard. Let's get into it. So my focus with the Sourdough Sidekick lately has been the mixing performance testing and testing new paddle designs. So with our initial Helix design, which is this one here, we got feedback from King Arthur Baking that there was flour buildup on the paddle. There was too much friction. It wasn't getting mixed into the sourdough starter. So we started looking into wire whisk designs. This is our first one. It's actually supposed to be kind of more like that, but the gauge of the wire was too thin and the torque required to mix the starter was a little too high when I did an overload test, so it got a little broken. So we noticed in this design that though it cuts through the mixture, it really doesn't get into the corners. And with small amounts of starter, we really need it to kind of scrape the bottom there and mix tiny amounts on the floor of the crock. And with large amounts of starter, we need some rolling action. So the next design we looked into are laser cut sheet metal, as you can see this one here. These are to get the corners and then the bottom surface as well. It's also pretty thick. And it's a little easier to prototype than this hand bent wire here. So we are liking this wire whisk design. These latest iterations, they are not final, but we're still working through to find the optimal design. Another great benefit of the wire whisk is it's made out of metal, not plastic, which I know a lot of you guys were concerned about.
Hey, I'm Perry. I'm one of the designers for the Sourdough Sidekick, and I'm back with an update on the UI. So last time I think we put this in front of you guys. It was super simple. You turn it on, it's gonna ask you which mode you want, auto or custom. So in this case, I'm choosing auto, and it's pretty much gonna ask me for just 2 inputs. It's gonna ask me how much I want in grams, and then it's gonna ask me how far in advance I want it in days and hours. Now, the tricky thing about this is that I have to do a lot of math to figure out where I want to be. If it's Wednesday at 5 p.m. and I want to bake on Saturday at 9, I got to figure out how many days and then how many hours that is. Certainly doable, but something to think about. And so we've been testing out maybe some new methods of inputting those things when you want it done, and we have a new version to put in front of y'all. See what y'all think. I'm choosing auto mode. Similarly, it's gonna ask me how much I want for my recipe, for my dough, and then it's gonna ask me what day I want it to be ready on. So if today's Wednesday, I'm gonna scroll through till I get to Saturday, and then I'm gonna put in 9:30 a.m. It's gonna tell me to add my seed. It's gonna be 14 or 15 grams, about a tablespoon. Should be pretty easy. It's going to make sure that I'm filling my water and my flour, just so that you don't run out during your cycle. And then it's gonna show me all my information. It's gonna allow me to start my cycle. Throughout, it's gonna tell me when it's feeding. It'll tell me all that information that I chose to begin with, just double checking. It's ready on Saturday at 9:30. You're gonna have 200 grams. And at the end, it's gonna tell me that it's ready, and it's gonna remind me how much it may be, plus a little bit extra just to make sure that you have leftover starter for your next batch. So our question for you guys is, which do you prefer? Would you rather put in the day and time that you're baking, or would you rather input just how many days and hours in advance you want to make your dough? In both modes, we'll have multiple screens that you can toggle through as the cycle's going to see all that information that you set and that's going on in the machine. But one thing we want to know from you guys is, what do you want to see on that front and center default screen? What do you want to see at all times without having to toggle between the two? Let us know in the comments. Drop any more feedback. If there's something that we forgot to ask that you want to let us know, go on ahead. Let us know which version of that auto mode that you like best, because we're still working hard to make this great, and we really appreciate your feedback.
So, one of the coolest things about the Sourdough Sidekick is that it can go up to 7 days with no discard. What that means is that if you want to grow 300 grams to bake some bread with it, this will microfeed to get to the point that you want at 7 days. So that would be 300 grams for us. And in those 7 days, you won't have to do anything, no discard, no feedings, you don't have to interact with it. We're going to take this hand-fed starter, so I've been feeding this every single day. We're going to take a seed amount, so for us that's going to be a tablespoon, and we're going to put it in the Sourdough Sidekick, and we're going to do a 7-day feeding for it in auto mode. And at the end of those 7 days, we will bake with it, and we're going to continue doing these 7-day cycles back to back to back to continue our testing. So we're going to bake with it, and we would need 250 grams for that. So we're going to grow it up to 300 grams. That way we have some leftover, and we'll use that leftover as our new seed, and we'll grow that again. The display and the UI look a little bit clunky right now because this is a prototype, and the final iteration will be a lot better and a lot smoother.
As part of the mixing performance testing, I have 6 different tests that I do, like different ratios and amounts. And for each test, I take a picture of what the crock looks like at the end, as well as the paddle and the crock wall. So those are the 3 different categories: flour buildup on the crock wall, flour buildup on the paddle, especially dry paddle, and clumpiness, like clumps of like dry flour and water, and then clumpiness in the actual mixture. So this was hard to quantify. We thought through, like, people expect different things in terms of is it mixed. Like, some people care a lot about clumpiness, some people don't. Some people will be like, it's fine that there's flour on the wall. Some people are like, that looks terrible. Quantifying clumpiness, harder than you think. So the different tests I'm doing, one is the auto mode. So this dispenses a small amount of water and flour. We're just trying to make sure that that gets mixed in due to the rolling action. It's not just floating on top. As well as the different ratios, 1:1:1 and 1:5:5 at like a smaller volume, as well as max capacity in the crock. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget that the pre-order campaign is still going on Indiegogo until April 25th. If you have any bread suggestions, we want to hear them, and we'll see you on the next update.